I was coming into a team who'd been there and stagnant for so long, 20 to 30 years.
Oh, man.
I think one manager had been there 30 plus years.
Wow.
Right out of college. And the other one, 23 years. So
wow,
a long time.
Welcome to the Business Growth Masterclass, where business growth is made simple. I'm your host, Albert Gillespie.
And I'm your co-host, Kellen Ketchersid. Join us as we bring you stories from business leaders so you can learn from their wins, their losses, and everything in between.
Today's guest is the owner of Bigham Smokehouse, a local barbecue restaurant here in Lubbock, Texas. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Nick Bigham.
Thank you.
Thanmes for being here. We've been looking forward to this. Yeah,
absolutely.
Bigham's Barbecue is a staple in Lubbock. I mean, I've been here 20 years and I remember it. And I think it was a staple when I got here.
Yeah.
How long has Bigham's been around?
Since 1978. My dad started it, and it's just been strong since he took the risk, took the leap.
Man, I was telling Albert on another episode of this podcast that I can still remember the jingle from like 2005 or something that played on the radio. So I won't sing it. He asked me to do it then. Well, you know, there's Bigham Smokehouse Barbecue. That's all I'm going to do. Nothing else we'll ever do. That's the next line. So, you know, some effective marketing there from the old days. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your dad started it in 1978.
Yes, sir.
So you grew up in this.
Yep. I grew up after school, would go to the office and get a snack of a Frito pie. And always grew up eating barbecue.
Man, what a life. I would love that in my childhood. I was on PBJs. Well, so now that you're running this business, can you tell us a little bit about, you know, taking the reins and kind of what that experience has been like since it's, you know, been in the family for so many years?
Sure. Yeah. So I took the reins over Bigham's about 6 years ago, and it was a great experience and surprising experience for me. I learned owning a business in a restaurant is a lot more difficult than you would expect. But I've learned so much patience and areas in development for others and more compassion for others as well as I lead about 40 to 50 people. So,
wow. Yeah, there's nothing more humbling than being a business owner, right? It's just, it is for everybody who's ever done it. They know that it's never easy and there's so much to learn. Mm-hmm. And especially as somebody coming into second generation.
And give our listeners a little lay of the land of what Bigham's Smokehouse is. Because I think you have, you know, on one end, you have more of your Rudy's, your Dickey's, your, you know, kind of large franchises. And on the other end, you have these like mom and pops are only open 3 hours on Friday. You know, kind of what is Bigham's Barbecue? I know that's a wide spectrum. So what is your niche?
Yeah. So when I came down from Fort Worth, where I went to school, I was trying to wrestle with where I wanted to take Bigham's. I kind of clung to the Franklin barbecue model. Like you're saying, you're open until you're sold out. Evie Mays is a great example, great success. But that's not what Bigham's is. They have grown. We have grown to be the business that is open till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and we should have barbecue for you if you need it at 5 p.m., 8 p.m., or 11 a.m. So that's kind of the niche that we are in, and I didn't want to take it away from that. So that's kind of, we've tried to make sure we are as good as we can be in that area.
That's so cool. You know, any business owner, you know, what is it? The Mike Tyson quote, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And it's you come in with this idea of what you think the business should look like. And then the reality is, hey, Bigham's has been around for 30 plus years. And we've got a loyal customer base that we need to honor and serve in the best way possible. So I love that there's that flexibility in the mindset for you as a business owner or coming in to run the business 6 years ago and seeing like, hey, what I had in mind, the Franklin's model or whatever. Maybe I need to adapt my mindset. So can you tell us some of the early going challenges that you faced, and maybe some of the lessons that how you got punched in the mouth, so to speak, and had to change the plan?
For sure. So I did not know much about restaurants, did not know much about management or leading. And so I had to honestly get in there and manage and learn all by myself. We didn't have any systems in place or any training. And so I had two managers who had been there for a long time who showed me what they did, but that was about it.
Wow.
But I'd say the biggest learning curve, or the biggest lesson that I learned, would be knowing how to hire and train people and how to look for talent.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest thing in the past 6 years that has just really impacted where we are going, because it's really difficult to do it on your own.
Yeah, in the service industry, it's so hard to find good help that's going to stick around, and having that loyalty in your business is something that we've seen with other people as well. It's a challenge.
Yeah, especially the niche. And so paraphrasing what you said earlier is, you guys are, not the fast food quality that maybe you get at a Dickie's or Rudy's, no disrespect, but a little higher quality, but you are looking to be able to have that at normal eating times. It's not this like kind of gourmet craft product that you make a small batch because that's how scalable this craft thing is, and then when you sell out, you're done. And so you kind of have the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And so training people to produce that like expectation of quality is probably pretty challenging.
So that would be the biggest difficulty that we have experienced, is marrying quality with service for 8 to 10 hours every day. We really enjoyed good brisket, and that's one of the biggest things I brought when I brought to Bigham's. When I got here, we changed how we do brisket, and how we smoke it, and we put a lot more focus on quality. But changing that for a 10-hour service time rather than a 3-hour service time or 5 hours is a big feat. And so I would say that has been our biggest struggle, but also as we continue to get better at it, it also feels like our biggest win every time we make that next step to help customers understand the quality is just a little bit better each time they've come. So,
and business owners don't often realize that sometimes the thing that's harder to do in the business is actually an opportunity for the business, because my competitors aren't going to be the ones staying up or staying out, having brisket ready to go at 9 p.m. or whatever, but we'll do that. And now we've got a market opportunity if we can do it well with excellence. Mm-hmm. That's the big if. A lot of listeners don't know, I grew up in a family of restaurant owners.
Yes,
and
go ahead.
The pizza industry. And so we had different managers. I remember there was a manager named Philip. I'm not going to say last name, but got mad one time and this happened. I was there. I was going to say legendarily, he grabbed a knife that he liked to sharpen every day, and in a rage threw it across the room, and it went into the drywall so deep that it took some effort to pull out. Another time we had a woman named Pam that we thought was great until we found out that she was giving pizzas to all of her best friends in the slow time. So it's like restaurant industry, to find good people who will really have an owner's mindset about the work that they do and want to bring excellence to it. It's tough.
Yeah.
But if you can instill the right foundations, mm-hmm. I think that makes all the difference. And clearly you've been doing that. So maybe you could tell our listeners a little bit about some of the ways that you're trying to dial in your systems, your people, and all the ways to make that, Bigham's mark of excellence on everybody's experience.
Yeah. So what it started turning for me with a higher level person or higher level people in my team. Mm-hmm. Some people are the opposites. They are great leaders, and then they can attract lower level and build them up. For me, I attracted someone who was really great, and he was moving to Lubbock, and I snatched him up, and we have really grown together the past year and a half. And he has helped me understand more of the restaurant industry, and I've helped him understand what my vision is and where I'm going to lead Bigham's. And where we're going is we're trying to bring the so I'm a Christian, so I'm bringing love of Christ into my business, and I want to bring that to my customers and to my employees. So we're trying to get that culture at the base level, but it does start from higher level leadership.
Yeah, and having the right co-pilot
Yes.
there in the cockpit with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's so cool.
How do you find people? How do you find that high level talent? How do you go about that?
So I spent 5 years looking for Kyle, who's my number 2 guy. But I would say it's trial and error, but also having a system of hiring is key, whether it's a software that you use or just a system of using assessments. That's how I have found more consistently good people, is through using assessments and a hiring software for restaurants.
What's your favorite assessment? What's your go-to?
So I'm not as great as y'all on assessments, but I would say just we just use a math assessment, and then after that we use something called a Colby, and that helps.
Colby Index.
Yeah. So it just helps you understand what they enjoy. Not necessarily what they're good at, but what they enjoy. Do they like working with their hands? Do they like being behind a computer? So that's helped me understand, are they going to be a good fit as a manager where you're working with your hands a lot?
Yeah. Man, okay. It's never an easy answer. And I think a lot of people don't want to hear that. When it comes to hiring people, it's like you articulated that perfect, that you have to have a system to a repeatable way that gets all the liability boxes checked of hiring and firing and doing all of that. And you need to know how to do that. But a lot of times finding that A player, it takes pulling the trigger a few times. It takes a little trial and error. And there's no, maybe you get lucky and it's the first guy that you hire, or first girl that you hire.
Usually not.
But usually not. Maybe it takes 6 years. But as the business leader, as the owner, that's your job. Is you're a coach and you're trying to find your quarterback. Mm-hmm. You're trying to find your, captain of the team. And that's just the job of being a business owner. And you articulated that well. It's just hard work, but it's worth it, right?
Yeah, I would say it made me a lot more aware and appreciative of coaches and how they recruit, because a lot of it, yes, it's coaching on the field, but it's also recruiting good people.
Yeah.
And avid sport fans, I'm sure, think about that, but not avid sport fans, you don't really think about how many things go through your mind and how much effort and work goes into finding all the team members before they're even the team.
And even your existing team, you've got your team, but in a high turnover industry like yours, you're already thinking about recruiting for the next cycle. And I want to brag on you a little bit. I was talking to one of your folks, and she was showing me this little business card that you guys have. Mm-hmm. That's like something about, I see you. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're calling them We See You cards. They're very new, but we're trying to create a networking opportunity for the people who work for us. So if they see someone who's a really great fit for our culture, or really great server, or anyone out like at the grocery store, and they're looking for a second job, we just want to give that to them so they know that they can apply at Bigham's and have a second job with us.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
How many?
So cool.
Oh, me and my wife, I felt like I had a note in my phone for half a decade. And I don't know if we talked about this guy, but there's guys around town. Like you remember Marcus?
Yes.
At Hastings, who was the kindest man He would work the library section, and you go, "Hey, can you help me find this book?" "Yes, let me get right on that."
My sister calls him the angel. I think he's at FedEx now in Lubbock.
Yes.
But like, where this guy
I have
is.
met him. Yep.
Yeah, anybody who meets this guy knows who he is because he's so kind and just amazing with his customer service and his attitude.
Oh yeah, there was him. There was another guy at Sonic that was just like over the top. There's another girl at United. Dude, having that card, I see you. That's amazing. I'm stealing that. Sorry.
Go for it.
Well, hopefully a lot of our listeners maybe not steal just that idea, but be thinking in these ways of how can I always be looking for that person who's going to be the right fit for my team? And you never know when you're going to run across that kind of talent. And of course, it depends what kind of industry you're in. You know, in your industry, that looks very different from maybe somebody who's looking for somebody in their legal office or, you know, their dental office. But at the same time, just thinking outside of the box, thinking of ways, how am I going to show the world what we're about? I love that you said earlier that you're a Christian. Like, we want to attract people to our businesses who have our values and who want to chase after the same things that we do.
Yeah.
And so just being willing to message that and think of good ways to put it out there makes such a difference in how you build that quality team we're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And that's one area we were weaker in. So I was trying to figure out a way to have a tool to be able to do that, because it's awkward to have that conversation rather than just having a card that can let them know.
Yeah.
So
what would you say is your strength in the business?
I'm a big problem solver, a little bit of a visionary.
Yeah.
And I have patience and empathy for my team, and that can be a strength or a weakness, I would say. But I would say that those are the three big things that come to mind. I have a great vision for my company and for the culture of our company and how we can impact others, employees and customers, but how we can positively impact them. I would say that's my strength, because I think every business owner or business needs a visionary and also needs a operator, hands on deck. So
how do you articulate your vision to your team, to your employees?
Yeah, I think that's something I'm learning how to do better and more. But I would say through consistent meetings that we have, through leadership development meetings, and through other meetings that are more based on operations, and through different. I've noticed bringing them to different conferences and different educational opportunities has really helped them understand, like, I care for them. I want them to succeed and be educated. In that, rather than just me going, that has really helped them understand that I'm putting my money where my mouth is, per se.
What conferences do you take them to?
There's one called Global Leadership Summit. It's an amazing conference all around the globe. I think it's an awesome opportunity because they have one in almost every city. So it's localized per city, but they also have it in Chicago, which is the main site. And it's a Christian conference, but they don't really advertise it like that. And it's just awesome business owners that talk and entrepreneurs that talk about leadership. And it's a 2-day conference. So there's one. And then Beat and Bow does another one called Kingdom at Work for CEOs and owners. So I brought my number 2 guy, Kyle, there, and that's an awesome opportunity. And I'm looking for more. I've heard about a few others that I'm looking into. There's one in Orlando I've heard about. So yeah.
And we've had the pleasure of having you in some of our Stack Business coaching meetings as well. So, and doing some coaching with us. So
yeah, I think that's the next step, is trying to figure out, like, we're bringing Stag into our business leadership and having Kellen come in and help us out. And so that has also really helped them understand that I'm not just the one getting poured into, but they get a one-on-one with one of y'all. And it's been really helpful as well. So yeah,
that's awesome.
What a great culture. And people notice that.
Yeah.
Right. If you no matter what the job, if it's a high turnover industry, like you are describing, and you're putting money into it, you're putting time into it, that someone who might come to you and think, yeah, this is a job for a season. And then they see a leader like you who is going to help them develop into a more well-rounded person with a valuable skill set, that's a different culture, and that keeps people around.
Yeah.
So when we were thinking about our culture in our business, oftentimes the one who's the owner or the founder is a visionary like you. They're the ideas guy. They're the ones that are thinking about the future and what we could do to improve. Now I'm curious, you're talking about Kyle and how you need that co-pilot, right? You need that person who's complementary to your strengths. What are Kyle's strengths? And what did you look for when you were looking for that person to help complement you in the business?
Yeah, I would say I was looking for a savior, honestly. I was looking for someone who could just help me out, who had experience. And yeah, so I was actually praying for him for about 6 months. And in about 3 months, that's when I found him. And then he came in on 2 months later. But so that was a cool story, because he had also been praying about the week I was praying to leave his job for 6-month notice. And so God really aligned that. But
Wow.
After that, I would say I was looking for someone who could bring the experience he has, because he operated Five Guys, burgers and fries for 13 years. So he knew the restaurant business.
That's a deep experience.
Yeah. And so he's a Christian. He also, he's older than I, so he has a lot of more wisdom in that field, and he brought that here. And I learned that we are very different. He's very operational. He is very systematic, and he doesn't like change. And so with a visionary who's like, man, wouldn't this be cool? Or wouldn't that be cool? And he's like, no, it wouldn't be. I'd like to stay right where we're at. So those two things are great, because you need a gas pedal and you need a brake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you need a healthy communication where you can just be truth tellers with each other and say, hey, I think we need this change implemented. And so there's that give and take, I'm sure. And that's such a healthy tension. If you can find a way to maintain that in a good way in your business, I think a lot of business owners can learn from that, is look for somebody who knows the things that you're not good at and try to, and I mean, it's amazing how prayer works for a business owner. We've talked to so many people who they say the number one thing that's helped them is prayer. And then also knowing what their needs are, like knowing, hey, I'm not as good at this side of it, or I would love to have somebody with a little wisdom in the restaurant industry. Yeah. And now you've got a dream team when that all happens. So
I want to ask a question, and we've hit on it a little bit, but coming into the business, you were an SOB, a son of a boss.
I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, I don't know if that's what some of the managers would have thought.
Albert and I are both SOBs, I guess.
So you're walking into that, and you're this visionary, and you have these dreams and these plans for this business. How do you go about winning over your team and bringing them into? And I know I've asked you, how do you articulate that? But that's a different thing of winning them over. How do you do that?
Yeah, I didn't do it. So I had one gracious manager so think about it this way. I was coming into a team who'd been there and stagnant for so long, 20 to 30 years.
Oh man.
I think one manager had been there 30 plus years.
Wow.
Right out of college. And the other one, 23 years. So
wow,
a long time. Yeah. And so one of them was very gracious and was like, sure, let's do this. Let's try this. And they were not great ideas, and they were not, I did not know what I was doing. But what happened was we started to see some things that stuck, and then that's where we clung to. And then the ones that just were not gracious, they didn't last too long, and we had to part ways. But at the end of the day, probably everyone would say, I wish I had the wisdom and leadership skills I have now, because I didn't understand what leadership was back then. And so that is the one thing I would just suggest, is dive into those leadership books and find these groups like Stag, because you learn so much so quickly that you can start implementing very easily.
Man, I love just the humility in how you were describing yourself, and and I'm sure it didn't always feel that way. But as a business owner, like you're curious, right? You're I wonder if we could make this better. But there's also humility and being open to my idea might not be the best idea.
Right.
And maybe I'm going to break some stuff and I'm going to apologize for it and ask that my team go along the journey with me. But I think leadership is both of those things. I think it's being driven, obviously, like wanting having this vision and wanting to attain that vision. But then it's following curiosity.
Yeah, trying new things
and being curious about your people.
Yeah,
and what drives them. It's taking the assessments and trying to get the right people on the bus in the right seats.
Yeah, Does he actually like doing this? Like the Kobe assessment you're talking about.
Exactly.
Right.
And so it's being curious about your people. It's being curious about your process and trying things and just iterating until it's excellent.
So what has been, you think, the biggest win besides let's throw out, finding Kyle and some of the other things that we've already been talking about. What would you say has been a big win at Bigham's in your tenure?
And I'd say there's two. Well, there's a lot, but I'd say there's two that are that come to mind, I guess. The first would be we just came out with a new idea in May, I think, and it came from a manager who isn't with us anymore, but he had great ideas, and Kyle hated it because it drove him crazy. As an implementer, him and another guy, Chad, they implemented this idea, and it was a very big win.
Can you share what it was?
One of our core values is consistency, and we were struggling to have our managers consistently make barbecue at each store. That was consistent, and so what we did is we just made one of our stores the commissary to make all of our food. And allow that to be the consistent piece because we only have a few people working on the food rather than 10 to 15. So that was a big win because we were worried. What does this look like? Will we have higher food costs? Will we have waste? And it turned out to lower margins just a little bit, and but also provide consistency. And if we have an issue, we know where to go.
Yeah,
it's not like who was on this shift at this time. It's 3 or 4 people, and so we know who to talk to. So it's really helpful.
I love that. And if you're a business owner listening to this and you're not in barbecue, you're like, okay, how does that apply to me? The thing I take away from that is you had 3 different stores, right, in Lubbock, and you have all these different employees at each one and 3 different processes running. Sometimes as a business owner, you need to think about how can I take this complexity that's all around and boil it down into something that's simpler and more elegant, so then we can control better what that looks like. And I love that the commissary was your solution for that. So many business owners out there, I don't care what you're doing, if you feel like something is running because there's 20,000 parts to it, sometimes you just need that machine to be boiled down to a few key components. So think about what that looks like in your business. What would you have to say to that, Albert?
Yeah, it makes me think of that book, Built to Sell. And I can't remember if we've mentioned that on the podcast before, but the concept in the book is it's a marketing company that is doing all things for everybody.
Yeah.
And what really turns the business around through the story is figuring out what they're really good at and productizing it, meaning they come up with this systematic way to do this niche thing that they do really, really excellent.
Yeah.
And then they build a team for each little piece of that. And then before they know it, they have so much more capacity because they have these experts at the few little things that they do. And they're able to serve people at a much higher level, at a much higher quantity. And that's just one of those business principles and lessons that I want our listeners to be thinking about. We think about this all the time. What's that one thing we're really, really good at? And how can we that people want
that gives you good ROI?
Yeah. That the margins are high that people want.
Yeah.
and do that, market that, do that more and more, get better and better at that. And a lot of times it's not more labor, it's not more money. You can just do something way better, way more profitable with the people you have and the equipment you have.
Yeah. And it simplifies your business so much. And when you've simplified, you can excel. You can really hit the gas. And I'm sure at Bigham's, being able to have the consistency of a commissary that's putting out all the food. Now it's like, oh, these briskets are overdone. We know where we need to go. We know who we need to talk to.
Well, and I would interject in that it might seem more daunting or it might seem more complicated.
In the beginning,
because it did. Like I don't think I touched the idea of commissary for years because I didn't think it was possible. And so I think that's one thing to take from it is take y'all's conversation of being more simple. Absolutely. But don't go away from it just because you think it's too difficult. But again, I couldn't have done it without my team. So also be realistic with the team you have too.
Yeah. So the execution. So yeah, you're right. Albert and I are over here talking about the idea and the concept, but then the execution of that idea is so key because you can't just walk in on a Monday and be like, guess what, guys? We're going to have a commissary. You got to have everybody involved and get input. So you're thinking from the different angles that they see that everything at. Have a plan and then have at time-based like milestones along the way so you know exactly how we're going to make this thing happen. And I think a lot of times for business owners, going through that process seems daunting. But as you just said, if you're willing to do that, it's going to be worth it. There will be a payoff, but you got to do it the right way.
And I would say one thing I learned is I did not help prepare that timeline and those milestones as best as I could. I just relied on them to do it, and that really took a toll on them. So I would say you can't just be the idea guy. You also need to be the help being the implementer and just being the visionary of the idea and help structure that would be helpful to your team.
That is well said. Maybe doesn't get told enough. You know, there are visionaries, there are implementers, but just because you're a visionary, you don't get to abdicate your throne and just, throw it out to the wolves. There is a level of follow through and implementation that you still have to have as a visionary.
You still have to be in touch with where the work is getting done. In Lean, there's this principle called go to the Gemba. In Japanese, I think Gemba means the place where the work actually happens. And that's that idea of, you can be up here at the leadership level, but if you're not going down to the shop floor or to the back area of the kitchen or whatever, and really getting in touch with the team and seeing the process and really knowing what's happening, then, you might give some dictates from on high, but it's going to turn into chaos if you aren't plugged in with the group. So that's such a good lesson. I really appreciate that. What are you really excited about the future of Bigham's?
We have a new menu rollout very soon. Very excited about that. We've had feedback that is leaning us toward this new menu to give just a little bit better portions and allow people to get what they want. And so we're trying to give that over to the customer rather than kind of give them what we think they want. So that's giving more options on that, but also simplifying, like y'all said, we're simplifying our menu to be better at the meats that people enjoy and kind of cutting off some of the fluff. I think that's one thing I came in with all these great ideas and I put more things on the menu and I didn't take anything off. So we're kind of doing the opposite thing right now.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. I mean, as someone who loves to go to Bigham's anyway, I'm excited to try the new menu. And
it'll be fun. We're trying to upscale some things and just make it more intentional with each dish. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Fire round.
I think we're ready for it. All right, Nick, we've got a few questions for you. Aside from Bigham's, what is your favorite barbecue restaurant, maybe in the state of Texas or wherever?
Man, I have not been to a ton of them. I do go to barbecue restaurants when I can. I would say Evie Mae's here is really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't a barbecue restaurant, but before I got into barbecue, I worked at a brewery in Fort Worth, and there was some guys from Mexico that came through, and somehow our guys knew them, and they were competition barbecue guys. And one of our brewers knew a rancher that we partnered with, and they grew Wagyu beef.
Wow.
And so he got the brisket for these guys to smoke, and it was one of the best briskets I've ever had.
That's awesome.
I would say that.
Oh, that breaks my heart. I can't go eat that.
Albert wanted to find a gym.
Oh, I know. That was my selfish question. I just wanted
to... here's the thing. You got to wait in line for hours, and I don't have the time right now. So
no, again, a good reason to go to Bigham's.
Yep.
Okay. My experience with you is, you know, your numbers, you know, the numbers of your business. And so maybe what's one action that business owners can take to get to know their numbers, their profit margins, their finances? What's one action that business owners need to take to get better at that?
It's a loaded question. I can only talk through my experience.
Sure.
For the first 3 years, I didn't know any of my numbers.
Which is normal. A lot of business owners like that.
Yeah. And then to make it worse, we had a new POS, point of sale system, which is like the cash register.
Man, we've got some terms. We had SOB, now we have POS.
Yeah, here we go.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
Anyways, we brought that in. And again, I didn't know my numbers. I didn't know my system. And it brought a whole other thing of issues because it was not pulling in the correct numbers to my accounting software at all. And so nothing was matching. So for about 3 years, I didn't know anything. And when I started to dig in, I noticed the inaccuracy. So I asked one of my friends who is very knowledgeable, and he has a business, who helped us get out of the weeds for about 2 years. And we still use them today. But
a bookkeeping service?
Yeah, we have a bookkeeper, but she does the end of month books for us.
Okay.
But she helped us get onto QuickBooks Online. She helped us match all of our transactions, do a lot of journal entries, get all of the things in the correct buckets. So I would honestly suggest find the who, not the how. Don't learn. Love that book, Who Not How, but find the who of finance, because you're not your business owner, but unless you're an accountant, like that's not your role. I like math and I love numbers, but it's not my role to spend 20 hours trying to dig out my numbers. So I had to rely on other people for that.
What a great lesson. I love that. And for all the business owners out there, who is the who?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you need that knows what you don't? So,
yeah. And that, well said. A good bookkeeper, accountant, CFO can translate the story that your numbers are telling to allow you to make good financial decisions. And it sounds like you've got a great partner in that. And that's such a valuable lesson and something business owners need to take seriously.
Yeah, I would say that's the first step. It was just accuracy of numbers. And then at that point, then it becomes easier, because then you can even use AI just to analyze your financial data. There's some really cool tools out there. There's a tool now that I'm using that just, it sends me a monthly email of potential errors. And it's like, oh, we didn't put that in the books for last month. And so it's super easy that this day and age, there's a lot of tools.
What's it called?
It's a restaurant software through,
okay.
It's a POS system called Spot On, but they have a little module. We don't use their POS, but they have a little module that just plugs into our QuickBooks Online, and it's great. So just Google Spot On if y'all need help with that, and he could help y'all out.
Okay. I've got one more that I wanted to throw in here. This wasn't on the script, but I think there's some business owners out here who need to hear about Ovation. Could you just tell them very briefly about how that works and why it's great for your customer reviews?
Yes. So Ovation is a customer feedback software that we use. It is specifically for restaurants, I believe. It could be maybe for the retail industry. But they are able to get a feedback. We get a feedback survey on our receipt, and every cashier hopefully is saying, hey, get a free cobbler for a review you leave. It's a 2-question survey. How's the experience? And then if the experience was 4 stars or less, they then get to give us some feedback. And right away, our managers on duty get that through their app, and they're able to talk to their customer via text message. And so that customer may leave dissatisfied, but within 15 to 30 minutes, we're able to make them satisfied with a discount coupon, remake their food, whatever it is, just so they understand that we're listening and not just want to go bash us on Google or something.
Yeah. But if they leave a 5-star review, it pushes them to go leave that Google review, right?
Yep. It pushes them to Yelp and Google. So it organically helps you build your reviews without paying for fake reviews. And it also helps you keep those unsatisfied customers. It's an awesome thing.
And those negative reviewers are not prompted to go to Google.
No, they are not.
There's a lot of... Anyway, I just thought that was a really cool system that you guys are using, and I wanted to put that out there for our listeners, because even if they're not in the restaurant industry or retail industry, there's probably some other platform that's doing the same thing. And if you're a business owner, having those reviews on Google is so important. So
and it might not be restaurant specific, but I would just say reach out to them. The owner's a great guy, and if they can't do it with y'all, they'll most likely know who to push you towards. So.
Okay.
All right. Where do we send people? How do they do business with you?
82nd in Indiana by Ralph's Records.
Okay.
19th and Quaker, catty corner from that United Market Street. And then right here off Milwaukee and 50th across from that Target.
All right.
All right. They've got 3 locations around Lubbock. Nick, thank you for coming.
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Learned a lot today.
Absolutely.
So. All right. If you are a business owner and you feel stuck in your business, if you feel that your business has plateaued and you can't grow, go to our website, stagcoaching.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, click to book your free consultation. And in your free consultation, we can help give you the next few steps to take to get your business to the next level. It's free, and it's on our website, stagcoaching.com. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.